Welcome to today's KD Club podcast. I'm joined by the gorgeous Vicky, who is a singer and performer. We're going to talk about her journey, what she's done, how she got to where she is now, any tips and tricks from the industry, and she also appears on a television show, and we're going to find out all about that. Thank you so much for being on, Vicky.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thank you.
What we would like to discuss today, which would be really great for our young people to hear about, is maybe they're coming to a GCSE year or A-levels and they're thinking about further education or college and they're not really sure where to go next. So if we start with your journey as maybe as a teen in secondary school, did you always know you wanted to be a singer and performer?
I always loved singing, and since a young age I went to dance class every Saturday morning. I was dancing, and then through the dancing I just really loved to sing, so I started having private tuition, so I was having private singing lessons as well. And then when I got to 16, I'd done all right in school. So when I got to 16 and my mum and dad presumed I'd just go on to A-levels, I was like, listen, I'm going to go and be a singer. They were like, you're not. You're going to do your A-levels. You're going to get a proper job. And I was like, no, I'm not, because I was a bit of a rebel.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to Southport College and did a BTEC in Performing Arts because,
nice.
Yeah, my best friend is a year older than me and she'd done the course and she was like, come on, Vic, we'll have a laugh. So I was like, yes. Yeah. So I went and studied at Southport College, the BTEC. And then again, I found another singing teacher there and I was having private tuition with her. And then I was getting all the lead roles in the college shows. And really it was only the second years that would get lead roles, but I was a first year and I was getting all the leads. So my mum and dad were like, oh, maybe she's all right. They didn't even think I could sing when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were like, okay, if that's what you...
Because you had nothing else to compare it to? Or were you singing all the time around the house?
Yeah,
Would you be like...
Every holiday, I was the kid up on karaoke all the time. I'll sing another song. So, yeah, I was a bit of a bore when I was a kid. But, yeah, I just loved singing as a young kid.
Did you find it easy to perform in front of friends and family? Is that maybe how you started? How to get... Because it's hard to get that confidence, isn't it? To be able to perform in front of other people. So do you think by performing in front of friends and family got you quite confident, ready to take you onto the BTEC to perform as a part of a show?
Yeah, and I think my best mate from a kid was Leanne, and she was the one who was in the year above me that was like, come on, Vic. So maybe it's her fault. Maybe she led me astray. So Leanne Campbell, thank you very much. I owe it all to you.
Do incredibly well, hasn't she?
She's done all right for herself.
Great.
So I think when we were kids, we were always like, Mom, telling our mums to come in the living room and we'd put in a show. We used to think we were Mel and Kim. Youngsters, you won't know who they are. But yeah, we used to do duets together and we'd always have a dance routine, and Leanne would always end up in the splits. I was never as flexible. So yeah, I think she gave me a lot of confidence. So I think it is such a childhood, isn't it? And it's great to have people to encourage you.
Absolutely.
And just to have fun with as well.
So that's a thing. That's a nice thing to think about, isn't it? If you're a young person, you think, I'd love to be able to do it. Maybe pair up with someone else, or you and your friend go and do maybe an after-school class together, or the Saturday morning, and it might make you feel a little bit more comfortable if you go along with somebody. It's not something brand new. Can be overwhelming. But if you go with somebody else, you're like, come on, let's do it. And then the two of you go on to do it. So did you do shows together as part of the BTEC?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And it's nice because I think I was always a bit of an outsider in school. I don't really think I fitted in. But then when I went to college, I felt like I found my tribe.
Yes.
And I think that is so essential when you hit 16. It's good to find your tribe and to find people who are interested in the same thing as you. And I really came out my shell because I was quite quiet in school because I just thought, I don't really get this. I didn't really fit in school. So it was so lovely to find people who were passionate about the same thing as me. And it was just the best time. Yeah.
So that's when you began to flourish because, as you say, you found your tribe. I think that is such a lovely way of putting it. You found your crew, your people.
Yes.
And then you felt like you fitted in that sort
Yeah.
of like, oh, I love that. So a B-Tech, a B-Tech, is that what you're going to do? Was it performing arts? So what did you do in that? What did that include?
So it was singing, dancing and drama.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And did you love all three?
I think out of the three, the drama was my least favourite, but I love singing and dancing. But I always thought, because I'm short, I always thought, oh, I'd never make it as a dancer anyway, so I'll concentrate on the singing more. But now that I've worked in the industry, I know for a fact that there's a lot of short dancers. So don't let that stop you if you're short. And especially
different shapes and sizes.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes you go to an audition and you do have to have a thick skin for auditions because there are a lot of knockbacks. But a lot of the time, even like today I was looking online, an audition come up and they were saying, oh, you have to be this certain height and this certain dress size to fit into the costumes that they've already got. So don't take it personally if you get knocked back at an audition because, you know, maybe the boots that they've got for the costumes are a size 4 and you're not a size 4. So please don't take it to heart if you get knocked back at auditions because half the time you don't fit the costume, but it's not on you.
So in terms of auditions, because that can be frightening in itself, your very first audition.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you did your very first audition? Was that coming out of the B-Tech or whilst you were doing the B-Tech?
So straight out of the B-Tech, I was 18 and I auditioned for a company in Scotland. It was a panto company. So I ended up playing Cinderella in pantomime.
Oh, that's lead role. I love it. Straight out.
Yeah.
I love that.
So it was a lovely job and it was my first time away from home. So my mum and dad were worried sick about me and they like drove me to Scotland. But then once I was in Scotland, I was like, this is it, I'm away from home now. And I went a bit wild. So I had a ball. I loved it.
So was that your first audition? Very first like professional audition. Obviously there'll be auditions you were doing in school, I imagine, and then in the college, but then this was your very like paid job audition.
Yeah, actually I think there was a couple of other auditions around that time. Actually, yeah, so it wasn't like the first audition, but it was one of the like in the early days. Yeah, but you know, there's a lot of auditions where I've been knocked back, but as I say, don't take it to heart. Maybe you're not the right fit, or you know, they're just looking for something else, but always believe in yourself. You know, believe in your own talent.
Do you think you have to do so many auditions to build up a level of resilience which makes you think, okay, it's not personal? You know, do you have to do lots? Because that first audition, which you have your heart set on that part and you think, this is for me, it was made for me, and then oh, not this time, you know, that's not for you. I mean, that's going to really hurt, isn't it? And then you have to do so many to go, okay. Yeah. It's not, you know, it's a little knockback, but I'm going to get back up again. I'm going to try for the next one.
I mean, to be honest,
keep going.
I still hate auditions.
How many do you think you've done?
They're horrible. Oh, like thousands.
Do you?
Yeah, like
Really?
hundreds. Yeah, like they're horrible. They are horrible.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've sang in front of thousands of people, and if you're in a small room like this and you've got to sing in front of 2 people, it's the worst thing in the world.
So what tips would you say? How would you prepare yourself for an audition?
Breathe. Just make sure you're breathing, because the breathing is like, you know, the main thing that's going to help you sing. So breathing, and yeah, just thinking, you know, it'll be what it'll be, you know, and just a little bit of meditation,
a little bit of breathing. I like that. So just if you compare, obviously you did a television show. Yes. If you can talk about that. So how long ago was the television show?
So
was it on
I'm
BBC?
terrible at maths. It was a long time ago. No, it was God. It must have been about maybe 16 years ago. Yeah.
And what channel was it on?
It was on BBC. It was called The One and Only, and I was the one and only tribute to Kylie Minogue. It's on YouTube.
Oh, I love it.
But that's the other thing.
Did you have to audition for that?
Yes.
And how did that feel knowing you were auditioning for a TV show? You know, that was going to be broadcast to millions. How did that make you feel?
To be honest, I already had panto in the pipeline. So I was thinking,
fabulous.
If I get this, amazing.
Great.
And if I don't, I've got panto. So I had a backup plan.
I love
But
that.
I would say, and this is another little tip, I would say find your real passion. When I was younger, I loved Kylie Minogue. I absolutely loved it. And I used to impersonate it in my bedroom all the time, a voice. So I think that was a good thing to do, something I was passionate about. So I did that. And then recently I love 60s music and the whole 60s vibe. So then that's where my career went off. Okay. So I did the Kylie tribute for a long time, and then I was
Did you dedicate it to Kylie? So you're just saying to dedicate, to sort of become that person, find your niche?
Yeah, just find what you really love. So I love Kylie and I love the 60s, and I feel like that's what's been the most successful eras in my career, has been doing Kylie and doing 60s, because that's what I love the most. Yeah.
So that's super interesting. You're coming at it from two different angles. So it's like, find your person, or, you know, if it might not be, or it could be, you know, a style of music.
Yeah.
If you don't want to become a sort of go down the impersonator route, but it's perfect that almost, isn't it? Really work on that. Rather than trying to be, you could do a little bit of classical, you could do a bit of pop, you could do a bit of dance, you know what I mean? It could be a bit of everything. It's interesting which way to go, isn't it? So it's, as a singer, you perfect, like if it's my daughter, I would say, you know, really focus on one style. Would you say? Well, it's an interesting way, isn't it?
I mean, I
like that idea, though, to become the best of that.
Yeah, I think it's really good to be versatile, and I think that's essential in this industry, is to be versatile and to be, you know, quick thinking, be easy to adapt.
Yeah.
But I do think you've got to find your unique selling point. I think that is so essential.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did it feel going on the television show? Was it, you know, what did you find more scary? Singing in front of a studio audience, or that initial audition? As you said, you know, singing to that, you know, there's a couple of people in a small room.
I think,
how did it feel?
The audition, so auditioned, and that was okay. And then the next round of auditions, there was 3 Kylie impersonators, and we all had to perform together on stage. But that was quite nice, because it was just like having fun with the other 2 Kylie tributes. And then they had like super fans that had to pick who was the best out of the 3 of us.
Oh, wow.
So it was quite nerve-wracking. But then when I've got chosen, that was like amazing. I was like, wow. But then when I had to perform on television, knowing that I think there was like 10 million people were watching.
Oh, wow.
I was like, and I think there was like fear in my eyes on the first episode. You can just see like, I was like a deer in the headlights. But you know, I was 24 at the time, and I think, you know, you probably think that's quite old, but I was like, I think it was quite young to experience that, like, you know, in hindsight. Now I'm an old lady in my 40s, but yeah, it was so nerve-wracking being on live TV.
What an amazing opportunity, though, at that young age. So did it give you a platform for anything else that came after that? Or, you know, because I imagine, in the nicest possible way, you don't have this social media behind it, which was great. So you just enjoyed the moment for what it was.
Yeah, I mean, but in the, you know, there's always pros and cons to everything. So the videos were on YouTube, because YouTube was like, you know, getting big at the time. And there was, you know, a few mean comments. Really? And I think if you're going into like reality TV, you're going to get that, you know, they're going to get the nasty side with it. But it was dead weird, because when I was on the train back to Liverpool, when I'd been booted off in the 4th episode.
How very dare they?
I know. I was speaking to this man on the train, and I was telling him about, you know, the negative comments that people had written on YouTube. And it always sticks with me. He said to me, every time a finger is pointed at you, 3 fingers are pointing back at themselves. Ooh. So I know. So I think people project their insecurities, you know, when they're just sat being mean.
And I think that's going to be a lot of young people will feel that, whether it's through, obviously, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, you know, people in the classroom saying mean things. Yeah. And a lot of young girls and, you know, boys are going to feel that. And that's how to become resilient against that, isn't it? How to build up the knowledge of your own self, your authentic self, to go, well, exactly as you've just said, they're projecting the way they feel about themselves on you. Yeah. And it's that strength to be able to believe that, isn't it?
Well, another little one I love, and my friend always tells me this, my best mate, he always says, you could be the juiciest peach, but some people just don't like peaches. I think that is so true.
That is so
Yeah,
true.
and I think you just need to remember that. Just be yourself, be your best self, and just forget what other people think of you. Yeah.
And that can go with an audition as well.
Exactly.
You could be that best person, but they just don't have the shoes for you.
Exactly.
The cape's not gonna fit. Everything, the hair colour's not right. Whatever it is, you are still an amazing singer.
Yes.
And I think that's a struggle for auditions because you don't necessarily get that feedback. So I imagine when people go to auditions, whether it's a casting, whatever it is, they're not going to say, well, you're a great singer, but this, and this. It's like a job interview.
Yeah.
You just say the job, you didn't get the job.
Yeah.
And that's the difficult part, isn't it? To walk away and say, well, I tried so hard at that. Why didn't I get it?
Yeah, yeah.
And it just, as you say, you're the juiciest peach, but they just didn't win after a peach.
They wanted an apple that day.
That's
it.
That's and that's hopefully what you've got to remember, isn't it? So obviously all of these amazing opportunities, being on the television, lots of young people dream about being on the television, becoming, stars in their own right. So since then, obviously, you've done so much because it's a little while ago. So what kinds of things did you do? Worked on the cruise ships? How did you get that opportunity?
So it was through an agent. So yeah, definitely get an agent. And I know
agent. Okay, how does that work? Where would you start?
So there's quite a few singing agents across the country. So Bigfoot are the ones that look after me quite a lot. They're based in Blackpool, and there's quite a few. I can't think right
How
now.
would you find one? How would you go about finding one, like a reputable singing agent? Is there something you can look at?
The AA, which sounds like something else, but the Agents Association, and if you look them up, you should get a list of agents. Okay. And then the best thing is to have a good show reel. So
what's a show reel?
So a show reel is you've got to find someone that can do a video of you singing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So invest.
How long would that be? Is it got to be like a full song? Do they like short songs? Is it 2 songs?
I think a little three-song medley is really good. Nice and snappy.
Yeah.
But I think if you've got a really good show reel, that'll get you far.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great piece of advice.
Yeah.
So we're looking at show reel, then we're looking at a singing agent.
Yes.
And do they then obviously find you good, reputable jobs? So obviously if you're going at your 18 and beyond, you're thinking if you've got an agent, they're gonna try and find castings and auditions for you on your behalf. Is that how it works?
So if you want more of a performing agent, that's slightly different. So they will get you contracts. So if you wanted and I would say, try and just get a contract abroad, because I think travel is the best thing to do. I think it's going to increase your confidence. You can be away from home, so you can go wild without your mum knowing what time you got in. But yeah, I mean, when I was younger, when I was 19, I auditioned for Disneyland Paris.
Wow.
Yeah, so I worked there for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And I had the time of my life.
Did you play a character?
Yeah, so I was costume character.
Yeah.
And then I was a dancer in the parade as well.
Oh, I love
that. And then while I was out there, they held singing auditions. So I was a singer presenter in all the shows out there.
Oh, what an experience.
But this is where an audition comes into it. So I was living my best life. I was there for 3 years doing all the different shows. But then it got to winter time, and the only show that they were holding in Disney was Mickey's Winter. So singing, tick, presenting, tick, ice skating. No, not at all. I was like Bambi on ice. I am the worst person ice skating. So I didn't get the job.
Oh no.
So then I had to come back home.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But do you know what I mean?
So you were there for 3 years though?
Yeah.
What an incredible experience.
Oh, it was like the best. Yeah.
I love that.
And then we just go out in Paris all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. And there was always parties every night, because you kind of live in apartments all together. So yeah,
what a great experience that is.
Yeah.
So where would you say where you've been in the world? Where's been your favourite place to perform? Would it be Disneyland Paris?
Yeah, that was amazing. Like being in the parade, as soon as the song started, it's like dun dun, and you're like, woo! get them shivers. You're like, woo!
And
so
just
I
to see
loved
every
it.
single face, just like,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
kid is just like, you've made the dreams come true. What an amazing audience, though.
Yeah.
Kids
Yeah.
just like, this is the best ever.
It was amazing. I'm trying to think where else. Like the cruise ships, I love doing the cruises.
What a great way to see the world as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, so I've been to like fabulous, been to Bermuda, Norway, all over the Caribbean, just all over the world. It's been amazing. Yeah. But another tip I have to give you: always be nice, because this industry is so small, and if you're a bit mean to someone, and then you get a bad name for yourself, you could be the next Mariah Carey. But if you're a nightmare to work with, they just won't employ you.
Really?
Because who would want to work with someone who was a nightmare?
Interesting.
You know, so always be nice, because you don't realise how small the industry is.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
You know, as you're starting on this journey, it's something to remember, to be kind, to be, you know, every audition that you go to, and just to be kind to other people in the crew. I imagine your other, you know, people that you're performing with, because that word is going to spread. If you're, oh, she's so lovely. Can we do it? Can she be on the next show? Can we go together to the next, you know? That is so interesting.
And I think people will recommend you for other jobs, because a lot of work I've got has been through knowing the right people.
Okay.
You know, so always network, keep networking.
Every single podcast, whatever industry it is, I promise you this always comes back.
Yeah.
So it's speaking to other people in your industry. Yours is singing and performing. Obviously, we talked about it in interiors. Go to shows, go to press events. You know, you're feeling, oh God, nervous. Oh, I don't want to go. I don't want to go on my own. But go. I mean, I'm like that at the moment, and I've been doing this for a long time, to go network and like business. And I go, oh gosh, no, I'm quite comfy as I am, you know, but you're not going to grow, are you? You're not going to put your head above and go, oh, there's the whole world out there, and they're just as nervous as I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's to approach somebody, a complete stranger, and start talking and say, oh, how did you? And equally, you're sharing stories and experiences, and, oh, that was a great show. You'd be great for that. Yeah. Try that. Or, you know, there's an audition coming up that I've just been for. Maybe you could go to.
Yeah.
So it's...
Yeah, and it's brilliant to make friends in the industry, because, as I say, you'll always recommend... You'd rather recommend a friend than someone who's a complete nightmare.
You would? Oh, she was terrible.
Yeah.
She was always late.
Yeah.
Always late. The show, you know, the rehearsals were running behind because he or she was late, you know. Yeah, I mean, that's such an interesting way of looking at it, because I'm a 18-year-old. I'm thinking, okay, there's an audition coming up, so I'm thinking about me breathing techniques that we've discussed, how to calm myself beforehand. I'm thinking about being really polite and smiley to everybody. Any other tips and tricks for a young person about to start this journey? Anything else which you think? I mean, you've given us some great ones so far.
Ooh,
anything you've learned that you think? I think networking is key. 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Having a friend was a great idea. Yeah, equally gonna go, we're gonna do this together. Is a great one. Anything else? And was the BTEC a great idea, or would you have gone straight to a performing arts school, class, club, anything?
Do you know what? It's interesting because a lot of people, they'll go to London and they will spend thousands and thousands of pounds. And I think, a lot of the time I will meet people at auditions and, or will be, up for the same role. And, I only did a little BTEC, and they've been thousands of pounds in debt. So it is, I think it's just work ethic. It's like, just work hard, make connections. And, maybe if you're in London, you are going to get more connections to the West End, but at the same time, there's so many people coming out of colleges now who are amazing. And I think nowadays as well, you've always got to have an extra skill. So now they're really up on aerial and acro. Oh, so a little plug. My friend has got an aerial studio. Oh, wow. So if you do want to become an aerialist, add that to your repertoire.
No way.
She's called Aerial Ninjas.
Oh,
Go speak to Chloe.
Yeah.
So if you want to, add another string to your bow.
Absolutely.
And some jobs now you've got to play an instrument. So if you can, I know, like when I did the cruises, they used to have ukulele classes on board. So I can play three notes on a ukulele. Very slowly.
Dun, dun.
Yeah. So I think always having an extra skill is going to be a real bonus as well.
Again, I think maybe the creative, industries are very similar to performance industries in terms of, being talented in, exactly as you say, a couple of different things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and being a hard worker. Every single podcast, every, person in the industry says the same thing. Be the first person there, the last person to leave. Just show how passionate you are to learn. Even if you, as you say, it's singing and aerial and you go, well, I don't know, but I'm going to learn. I'll go to evening classes and I'll learn how to do it. Don't worry, it's that passion to be able to say, I don't know, but I'm going to try, or I'm going to learn about it, or I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
But no, I don't do it. All right, well, you're not going to get the part, are you?
Yeah.
It's having that, exactly as you say, the work ethic.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's really important.
Definitely. And, there are going to be some jobs that you think, oh, I don't really want to do this. But you know what? Just get through the contract and just work hard. And because every job you do, you're making more connections, so even at an audition, you go to an audition, you don't get it. But, you'd be speaking to people, you make friends with people, you're guaranteed to see them at the next audition.
Really?
So it's always nice to see a friendly face.
Yes.
And that's going to calm your nerves as well.
That's
Getting to know other people at auditions, because they might say, oh, we heard about this audition. And they might tell you about other work that you could go for as well.
Okay, so there are a couple of things that we've discussed, which I love all of this because I would find this invaluable for me. If I was a young person, we looked at having a couple of strings to your bow. So when you went back to your BTEC, that performance, it was the singing, the dancing and the performing.
Acting.
The acting.
Yeah.
So we had 3 different things, which those skills you took forward. Do you think acting goes along with singing because you're sort of trying to tell a story?
Definitely.
To be able to have that little bit of knowledge.
I think very much so, because, you could have a person technically with the most beautiful, phenomenal voice, but if they don't have the passion behind it, if they're not telling the story and they're just a bit dead behind the eyes, I think the song means nothing. So I think having that passion and having the storytelling to get the message of the song across is so important, yeah.
Because I suppose when we watch Strictly, we watch Strictly at the weekend and they're dancing, but their faces are performing also.
Yeah.
So it's having those different little sprinkling of everything, isn't it, to make up a great show, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of Strictly, you've got Leighton, who was a star
Incredible.
of the best thing on it.
Absolutely fave.
Team Leighton.
Yeah.
But again, like acro,
True.
all the flips and everything.
Yes.
That's it. You need another little string to your bow, and that'll set him above all the other dancers who are on Strictly, because he can do somersaults and everything.
Same for, I suppose, Ellie. She's a singer. She's an actress, isn't she,
Yeah.
on Coronation Street? So she's a real performer when she comes out. You can see she tells the story.
Yeah.
So it's having those other things. I think it's a great idea to go on and do some sort of all-rounder. Of course, like in fashion, you can go, or say you want to do something creative, you can go and do foundation, which you try a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And then you specialise in one thing. So you might try graphics, photography, fashion, and then you go on to do, well, fashion was my favourite.
Yeah.
So if their next steps are into a college course or further education, it might be a nice idea to try something. I don't know what courses are available actually in terms of further education right now. If you did want to become a singer, you have to try all different aspects.
Yeah, because I mean, even singing, you've got musical theatre, you've got pop, you've got opera. So there is loads of different avenues you can go down. Yeah.
Yeah. I think from this conversation, I have learned a ton of things into if I was a young person and my next steps and what kind of things I'd like to try.
Yeah.
So many tips. Building resilience along the way in terms of auditions. I think that was lovely the way you said that it's, you're the best peach, but you're not, they weren't looking for a peach. I love that. And I think, and networking and meeting other people. I think these have been absolutely great tips. And I think if people do want to go on and study at a further education or just try a Saturday class or an evening class.
That's it.
You don't know which way it's going to take you. Your journey's been incredible.
Yeah, it is crazy when you look back on your life at all the stuff you've done. But I think just always believe in yourself. I do think that.
I love that. Perfect. Thanks, Vicky.
Thank you.